Welcome back. Last week we talked about the tools that I use to keep my business up and running while I travel the world. If you missed that video, you can grab the link below. This week I promised to fill you in on all of the stuff that helps me with the actual travel. I'll include links to everything that I mentioned below, and just like in the other video, some of those links are affiliate links, meaning that I will get paid if you buy after clicking that link, and then some of them are not. I want to be clear though, everything I mention here is stuff I actually use, and I'm just giving you affiliate links because it'd be silly for me not to. I haven't put anything on here just so I could use an affiliate link. That's why a lot of the links are just regular links, because I'm going to tell you what I really use, whether or not I can get paid for it. First of all, I love to see new places and meet new people. That's why I travel as much as I do. But the actual travel part of travel really sucks. It's expensive and uncomfortable, and it's just something that you have to tolerate so that you can get to your amazing destination. With a few exceptions, like maybe a bus ride crossing the Andes between Chile and Argentina. It's been my experience that getting to your destination is not only the least fun part of the trip, but it's also the most costly. So let's start with some tips for how to get cheap travel. Of course, the first option is to look at alternatives to flying like buses or trains. These are especially good options outside of the US where they can be insanely inexpensive, and there may be something worth looking at out the window. You can also consider cruising as an actual transportation option as opposed to as a pseudo destination in and of itself. For example, I'll be spending the summer in Europe and I'm cruising over instead of flying. It's approximately the same price as my flight would have been, even though I'm paying double for my cabin because I'm going solo, and I'll get to enjoy 10 days on the open ocean with all of my needs catered to, and most importantly, an endless amount of free food before swinging by Portugal and then landing in Spain. Not only can cruising be fun and cost effective, but it also forces those of us who are technology addicts to disconnect, because internet and cell service are so slow and so expensive on ships. If you must fly, however, there are some tricks that I use to get the best fares. It takes some work, but I usually find some pretty good deals. Firstly, do all of your searching in the incognito window. All of the travel sites track you, so if you start searching around for a particular flight and perform the same search over and over and over again, it's going to affect what you see for rates, even though it shouldn't. I've literally done the same search side by side and seen different prices because on one computer I've been tracked and on the other it was a brand new search. If you're in Chrome, you can open an incognito window by clicking Ctrl-Shift-N. When I search for flights, I always look at both CheapOair and Kayak, and then sometimes also Hipmunk as well. Plus, I check out Superfly and my credit card rewards. Superfly aggregates all of your frequent flyer mile programs, so when you search for a flight, it can show you how best to utilize your rewards points. If I'm traveling short distances, I also check out the local discount airlines in the region. Just remember to be careful when you're comparing, because the vast majority of the airlines now are nickel and diming you on luggage charges, so you want to make sure you're actually comparing apples to apples when you look at the quoted fares on the different sites. These discount airlines can also come in handy if you're booking a flight that you know you can't go direct anyway. You can often fly to a less expensive hub in Europe or Asia, for example, and then take a discount airline to your final destination. The combo price of the two separate tickets can often be considerably lower than booking it all together on one major carrier. And if you happen to want to explore the layover city, you can add in some extra hours or even sometimes some extra days to that flight too, and get in an extra city while still saving money on the flight. You should also do your best to be flexible about travel dates. Sometimes, yeah, you just have to be somewhere on a certain date and there's nothing you can do about it. However, if possible, flying in the middle of the week and or at off-peak times of year will usually save you quite a bit on the fare, and it can result in a more comfortable ride because the flight won't likely be overbooked. Once you arrive, you can obviously go the route of typical hotels or hostels, but I'm not really a huge fan of either. I like to get a bit deeper into the culture of the place I'm visiting than I feel like I can do at a regular hotel. I want to have a kitchen and be able to go to the grocery store, live in a normal neighborhood, etc. And I'm just a bit too old to be willing to share a bunk room in a hostel. So I tend to opt for Airbnb or a homestay through homestaybooking.com when I travel. Both options let you immerse yourself a bit more into the culture, and they're usually less expensive than your hotel options. I also love these options because I continue to have wonderful experiences meeting and hanging out with the hosts and other guests at these accommodations, some of which have turned into great friends that I'm still in touch with today. Finally, for the real nitty-gritty of travel, I never leave home without an Nalgene, which is a virtually indestructible water bottle. My passport case, so I can keep all of my visas, entry cards, immunization records, all of that organized. Super light luggage with 360-degree spinner wheels, and my favorite travel pillow. Now, a note about this travel pillow. It's not a normal crescent travel pillow, and it's the best I've found. However, when inflated, it's rather large and you will get some stares. It's worth it though, for me anyway. Every time I've used it on a long flight, the other passengers look at me like I'm insane when I take it out. But then once we land, and I've been getting my beauty rest for 8 hours and I'm ready to see the town, well, they're uncomfortable, bobbing their heads around and just want to go to sleep. They all ask me where I got it and they want one for themselves. So that's it for my essential travel tools. I hope that helps you out a bit as you plan your next trip, whether for business or for pleasure. Now I want to hear from you. What are your best travel tips and your favorite travel tools? Please let me know in the comment section below. And if you're at YouTube, make sure to get over to catecosta.com to join the discussion. Did you find this video helpful or fun? Then share it with a friend who you think would benefit from the dish. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Facebook and subscribe to my channel on YouTube so you never miss any of the latest tips, tricks, and tutorials to help your business grow. And you get to see my adventures through the wide world of entrepreneurship and how I use the freedom running my own business gives me. Also, remember to head over to catecosta.com so you can get in on the conversation about how to build your business to success so you can live your life your way.